You're standing in a furniture store looking at a couch. The price tag says $2,400. Your brain immediately does the math and says no. You don't have $2,400 for a couch. You weren't planning to spend $2,400 on a couch. You start walking toward the door. Then the salesperson says 6 words that change everything. That's only $67 a month. And something shifts. $67 a month. You spend more than that on takeout. You spend more than that on streaming services you barely use. $67 a month sounds like nothing. It sounds responsible. It sounds like something a functioning adult can handle without thinking twice. So you sign, you take the couch home, and over the next 36 months, you pay $2,412 for a couch that would have cost you $2,400 if you'd paid cash, except you also paid a $99 delivery fee that got rolled into the financing, and the interest rate was 0% for the first 12 months, but 24.99% after that, and you missed one payment in month 14, so the deferred interest kicked in retroactively. Your $67 a month couch just cost you $3,100. That's not a budgeting failure. That's the system working exactly as designed. My name is Kai, and I spend way too much time thinking about money and why the financial structures that are supposed to make things more accessible are usually the ones that make them more expensive. If you've ever signed up for something because the monthly number felt manageable and later realized the total cost was significantly more than you expected, make sure to subscribe and hit the like button if this helps you see how monthly payments actually work. Here's the mechanism, and once you see it, you'll notice it everywhere. The monthly payment is not a convenience. It's a pricing strategy. It exists to replace the number that would make you walk away with a number that makes you stay. And there's a second layer to this that's worse than the interest or the fees, because it changes how your brain makes every financial decision after you say yes. We'll get there. Every industry that has adopted monthly payment structures, from cars to phones to furniture to software to fitness, did so because they discovered the same thing. People don't buy based on total cost. They buy based on what it feels like to pay per month. And the distance between those two numbers is where the profit lives. This isn't new. Car dealerships figured this out decades ago. When you walk onto a lot, the first question isn't, what's your budget? It's, what monthly payment are you comfortable with? That question sounds helpful. It sounds like they're trying to work within your means. But what it actually does is shift the entire negotiation away from the price of the car and onto the only number you'll see every month. Once they know you'll say yes to $450 a month, they can build a deal around that number using any combination of price, interest rate, loan term, and trade-in value. The monthly payment stays the same. Everything underneath it changes. They could be charging you $2,000 more for the car, giving you $1,500 less on your trade-in, and adding 2 years to the loan. You'd never know, because the only number you asked about is the one they held steady. A $35,000 car at 6% interest over 60 months costs you $40,800. The same car at 6% over 72 months costs you $42,400. Stretch it to 84 months, which used to be rare and is now standard, and you're paying $44,100. The monthly payment went down each time, the total cost went up each time, and the person signing the contract only looked at one of those numbers. That's the core trick. Longer terms mean lower monthly payments and higher total costs. Every single time. There is no version of this where stretching payments out saves you money. But it always feels like it does, because $525 a month feels cheaper than $676 a month, even though the $525 payment costs you $3,300 more over the life of the loan. They're not selling you a car. They're selling you a payment slot in your life. That's the entire business model. Now, let's talk about where this model has spread, because it's not just cars anymore. It's everything. Your phone. The flagship smartphone costs $1,200. Nobody would pay $1,200 for a phone at a register. The carriers know this, so they break it into $33.33 a month over 36 months and bundle it with your wireless plan, so the phone payment disappears into a larger number you're already used to paying. You never experience the $1,200. You experience $33 a month, which feels like a rounding error on a bill you'd be paying anyway. And then, 24 months in, they offer you an upgrade. Not because your phone stopped working, because your contract allows it, which means you trade in your current phone, start a new 36-month payment, and never actually own the device. You're leasing a phone on a cycle that never ends, paying $33 a month forever, and it never once feels expensive because the monthly number never changes. Over 10 years, that's nearly $4,000 on phones you never owned outright, each one traded in before the payment's finished. Gym memberships. The average gym membership is $40 to $60 per month. That sounds reasonable. Over a year, it's $480 to $720. Most people go way less than they think after the first few months. That means you're paying $20 to $30 per visit for a place you barely use, except it doesn't feel like $30 per visit. It feels like $50 a month. And $50 a month isn't enough to cancel over, because the cancellation process is deliberately designed to be more annoying than the charge is painful. Some gyms require a certified letter. Others require you to come in person during business hours. The monthly charge is small enough to ignore, and the exit is just difficult enough to postpone forever. That's not an accident. The entire gym business model is built on people who pay but don't go. They're not selling fitness. They're selling a monthly charge small enough to tolerate and hard enough to escape. Software. Photoshop used to be a one-time purchase. Now it's $22.99 a month. That's $276 a year, $1,380 over 5 years. Microsoft Office went the same direction. So did every productivity tool, design tool, and storage service. The entire software industry realized that one-time purchases create one-time revenue, but monthly subscriptions create permanent revenue. So they switched, framed it as a benefit, and quietly made sure you'd never stop paying. You don't own the product. You're renting permission to keep using your own files. Stop paying, lose access. The monthly payment isn't a payment, it's rent. And rent never builds equity. And now they've taken this model and stapled it onto purchases that used to be one and done. Things your parents would have paid for in cash without thinking twice. Furniture and appliances. Buy now, pay later has turned every purchase over $100 into a monthly payment opportunity. Afterpay, Klarna, Affirm. These services let you split purchases into 4 to 12 payments with no interest, and they're correct. Most of them don't charge interest. What they do charge is the psychological cost of normalizing debt for purchases you used to save for. When splitting a $400 purchase into 4 payments of $100 feels like being responsible, you've crossed a line that's very hard to walk back, because now every $400 purchase is a $100 decision. And $100 decisions stack. This is how someone with a good salary ends up with a negative bank account. It's not one bad choice. It's the shoes on Afterpay, the mattress on Affirm, the jacket on Klarna, and the furniture on store financing, all billing on different dates, all small enough to approve without thinking, all due at the same time. The system doesn't break because payments are large. It breaks because there are too many small ones to manage. Let's stop pretending this is random. We're 5 categories in, and the pattern is identical every time. Show a small monthly number. Hide the total cost. Make it easy to start and hard to stop. This is not 5 different industries making 5 different decisions. This is one strategy applied everywhere because it works everywhere. And every financial decision in this structure is wrapped in the same question. Can I afford the monthly payment? Not, should I spend this much total? Not, is this worth the full price? Just, does this fit in my month? That's the question they want you asking, because the answer is almost always yes. $33 for a phone. Yes. $67 for a couch. Yes. $50 for a gym. Yes. $23 for software. Yes. $450 for a car. Probably. Each one passes the monthly affordability test. Each one individually feels manageable, but nobody adds them up, so let's add them up. Here's what a typical month looks like for someone who said yes to monthly payments the way most people do. Phone, $33. Car, $450. Insurance, $180. Gym, $50. Software subscriptions, $45. Streaming services, $55. Buy now, pay later balance, $120. Internet and phone plan, $140. On that couch from the furniture store, $67. Each one felt reasonable when you signed up. Each one, on its own, is too small to lose sleep over. Together, monthly total in payment-structured expenses, $1,140. That's rent in most cities. That's a maxed-out Roth IRA. That's an emergency fund built in 4 months. Instead, it's your life leaking out in 9 tiny drips, each one too small to notice and too familiar to question. And the reason you didn't notice is because none of these felt like decisions. They felt like defaults. That's $13,680 per year going toward monthly payments alone. For context, that's more than the median American saves annually. It's more than most people contribute to their retirement accounts. It's a number that would stop you cold if anyone ever presented it to you as a single bill. But nobody presents it as a single bill. It arrives in 9 different charges, from 9 different companies, on 9 different dates, and each one is small enough to autopay without opening the notification. And most of these aren't building equity, earning returns, or appreciating in value. They're depreciating assets, temporary access, or services you could reduce or replace. You're not investing $1,140 a month. You're subscribing to a lifestyle that was designed, one payment at a time, to feel affordable while being anything but. If your savings account hasn't grown in a year, this is the leak, not the coffee, not the avocado toast. This, $1,000 a month in payments that each felt too small to question. Now here's where this gets structurally dangerous beyond individual purchases. Remember earlier I said there's a second layer worse than interest? This is it. Monthly payments don't just cost you more per item. They rewire how you make every financial decision. When everything is a monthly payment, you stop thinking in total cost and start thinking in monthly capacity. Your brain runs a different calculation. Instead of, can I afford this thing? It becomes, can I fit another payment into my month? And the answer keeps being yes, right up until it suddenly isn't. And by then, you're locked into 12 contracts you can't easily exit. This is why people who earn $70,000 a year feel broke. Not because $70,000 isn't enough money, but because their monthly obligations have been stacked, one affordable payment at a time until there's nothing left. Each payment was rational in isolation. Together, they consume the paycheck. There's no single villain you can cancel and suddenly feel rich. There's just a crowd of small charges that collectively took everything, and because each one is individually defensible, you need the car, you need the phone, you like the gym. You never cancel any of them. You just keep feeling tight and assume the problem is your salary. They know you evaluate every payment in isolation. Your bank account doesn't. That's the entire game, and they're winning it. And here's the part that makes this a systemic problem instead of a personal one. Monthly payment structures have been getting longer, not shorter. Car loans averaged 48 months a decade ago. Now 72 and 84 months are standard. Phone payment plans went from 24 to 36 months. Furniture financing went from 12 to 36 months. Every extension lowers the monthly number and raises the total cost. The industry isn't making things more affordable, it's making them more tolerable on a monthly basis, while making them significantly more expensive overall. You're paying more for longer for the illusion of paying less. Some of you are thinking, Kai, monthly payments are the only way most people can afford big purchases. And you're right. Not everyone has $35,000 cash for a car, or $1,200 for a phone. Financing exists because lump sums are genuinely impossible for most people. I'm not arguing against financing itself. What I'm arguing against is the framing. When a company says affordable monthly payments, they're not describing your financial situation. They're describing their pricing strategy. Let's break those three words apart because each one is doing work. Affordable means the number is low enough that you'll say yes. It doesn't mean you can afford the total cost. It means the monthly slice is below your pain threshold. Monthly means you'll never multiply it by the number of months. No one sees $33 per month for 36 months and instinctively thinks $1,200. They think $33, fine. Payments means you're renting it. Stop paying, lose access. No equity, no ownership, just a meter running. The phrase itself is marketing, not math. And the moment you start evaluating purchases by their monthly cost instead of their total cost, you've accepted a framework that will always cost you more. If you look at your monthly payments and say, yes, I need financing for certain purchases, and I'm fully aware of the total cost, the interest rate, and the term length, that's an informed decision. Make it confidently. But if you're signing up for monthly payments because the number feels small without ever multiplying it by the term, you're not making a financial decision. You're responding to a pricing display. And pricing displays are designed by people who are very good at making you feel like you're getting a deal while you're paying a premium. Here's what that costs you over time. If you reduced your monthly payment obligations by just $300 a month, which is one car stretched to 84 months that could have been 60, one phone you kept for an extra year instead of upgrading, and one subscription you cancelled and invested that $300 instead, you'd have roughly $22,000 in 5 years and $55,000 in 10. That's not a fantasy number. That's basic math on money you're already spending. The monthly payment structure didn't just cost you more for each individual thing. It cost you the future those dollars could have built. The solution isn't to never finance anything. The solution is to always do the multiplication. Every time someone quotes you a monthly payment, multiply it by the number of months. Look at that total. Then ask yourself, would I pay this amount right now, in full, for this thing? If the answer is no, the monthly payment didn't make it more affordable. It made it easier to say yes to something you can't afford. And once a quarter, Add up every recurring charge on your bank statement. Not the ones you think are there. The ones that are actually there. Most people find charges they forgot existed, services they stopped using months ago, and a total that's significantly higher than they would have guessed. People who build wealth don't avoid monthly payments entirely. They refuse to evaluate them monthly. They see the total cost first, the monthly cost second. They know that every payment plan is a price tag that's been broken into pieces small enough to swallow, and they insist on seeing it whole before they decide. That couch for $67 a month? Multiply it. That car for $450 a month? Multiply it. That phone for $33 a month? Multiply it. Then stack every monthly payment you're currently making into one number and look at it. You didn't buy things. You rented out slots in your life, one payment at a time. And the real cost of affordable has been draining you quietly, $67 at a time, because nobody ever told you to add it all up.